See, this is why the camera kept shaking, because he would jump up there, jump off, jump up there, jump off. So if the camera was shaking at any point, it's this one's fault. See, look at that face. He gave me a dirty look, and he always has his tongue out. He's a weirdo. I love him, but... Hey guys, what's up? My name is Shannon, and I wanted to give you today a review of The Geek's Guide to Unrequited Love by Sarvenaz, Tash. I am so sorry. I know I butchered that. I am so sorry. This is a book about a boy who is a major geek. He's proud of it. He don't care what anybody else has to say. And the girl he's absolutely positively in love with is too. They actually met by her asking what Hogwarts house he thinks he would be sorted into. So, I mean, how much more perfect can you get? And it is basically him trying to gather up the courage to tell her how he feels about her. This book has so many fandom references. I am obsessed. It has references to Doctor Who, Magic the Gathering, Star Wars, Harry Potter, obviously, because that's how they met, Lord of the Rings, pretty much anything you can imagine. There's a lot of comic references, obviously. There's actually a fictional comic in this series that it kind of revolves around, and then everything else kind of is in the background. But all the references make me so happy. It's like, you mentioned Doctor Who, you're amazing. So it's just one of those things that this book was literally made for me. I am so happy I read it. And the funny thing is this is a brand new release. So they mention things in this that are like freaking brand new. Like most authors wouldn't think to put such close-knit to this year pop culture references. Like they talk about the 12th Doctor, and they talk about Rey from Star Wars and Kylo Ren, and I'm just like, wait, what? This was published this year? This is awesome. So I highly recommend this if you are a geek like me, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are. So just saying, this is awesome. If you like love stories, this is really good. It's not a stereotypical love story necessarily. I mean, yes, it's unrequited love in a way, but there's other things that add into it, and the secondary characters are just as awesome as the two mains. So that's always a good thing. This is a really short book. Basically, the main character's name is Graham, and he is in love with his next door neighbor, Roxy, short for Roxana. And she is oblivious. She doesn't realize this, and it's really awkward, and he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna make this huge gesture at Comic-Con and tell her how I feel, and hopefully she'll feel the same way. He is basically described as a tall, kind of lanky redhead with glasses and blue eyes. So, well, he's not that bad looking, but apparently some people don't think it's the best thing to have red hair. Can I just punch them now? And he's really, like, he's shy, but he's smart. I think they say he's like the 11th in his class, which is pretty awesome. But obviously you can't help but fall in love with Graham because he's just like so sweet, and so you think, you know, oh, this poor guy. He really resonates with you as a person. So it's just kind of one of those things where I really like the whole cast of characters. Things don't always go as planned in this book, which is pretty true to life. And he finds out that Roxy isn't completely what he thought she was. She's a little different. She's a little sassier and braver than he thought she was. And he's not quite sure how to take that. Like, it kind of takes him off guard, and he's like, wait, is this the same girl I fell in love with? Like, what? What? I feel so bad for this guy during some points. I'm just like, oh, you poor thing. I love you so much. Don't be sad. It's really exciting to see like different points of view of the same fandom without being like hateful to each other. That's one of the things I really hate about fandoms, is that they get so hateful towards one another, and it's just like, why? Why is that worth that? I mean, I get being into a fandom, but don't hate on other people just because they like a different part of the fandom than you do. Don't do it. It's just rude. But I'll get off my soapbox. If you by chance get a little kind of annoyed at cursing, they use some curse words in here. Like, they do drop a few F-bombs in the middle and close to the end, but it's not like obnoxious. It's not like every paragraph there's an F-bomb. No, it's not that bad, but there's a few B words, there's a few A words. You'll randomly see Butterscotch sitting behind me because he decided he wanted to help me film. So he's over here being cute and being a stinker, as usual. Forgot to mention, they also do a lot of talking about like classic 80s chick flick movies. Like Pretty in Pink is kind of a huge theme in this book. So if you like that kind of stuff, I do recommend this. That's really all I can say without spoiling anything. So I'm going to jump into the spoiler section. So if you haven't read this book, which I don't think you have because it's fairly new, I just saw it on the shelf at Barnes & Noble like 3 weeks ago. So it's fairly new. It's, like I said, copyright 2016. So if you haven't read this book yet and you want to, but you don't want to be spoiled, then I suggest you leave now and come back after you've read it. Now, without further ado, here is the spoilery section for the Geek's Guide to Unrequited Love. Okay, I really enjoyed this book. The romance aspect was actually really sweet, but not in the way that you would think. First off, Roxy meets a guy, which I talked about earlier, the British guy. His name's Devin, and he's like, oh my gosh, why did she have to meet this guy? Why does he have to be hot? Why? And then he opens his mouth and he's like, well, crap, the guy's British. I'm screwed now. So, because he mentions earlier that she's a big fan of anything BBC, anything British, so I'm guessing he's kind of like her Tom Hiddleston. So, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I get why he's jealous, because he calls him throughout the book, he calls him Stud Crumpet, because he's not cool enough to be a muffin, but he's a stud, so he calls him a Stud Crumpet because he's British, and it's hilarious. It just makes me giggle every time I saw that phrase. I'm gonna have to use that. Ooh, I can use it for Thorn. That's another phrase I can use for Thorn besides Juicy Potato. He's a Stud Crumpet. Roxy met Devin, and Graham met Amelia, which they actually, all four of them met during Felicia set them up for speed dating, which a while back, sorry, the camera shook again, the cat jumped. A while back, at the Comic-Con I was at, they had this guy yelling out for speed dating, and he's like, hey, join speed dating. It's free for the ladies. And I'm like, really? Can you be more sexist? That's awful. You need to stop. Felicia signs all of them up for speed dating, and he meets Amelia. He also meets a couple of other girls. A couple of them say, you know, sorry, I don't date gingers, which, you know, whatever. Screw you, you're a jerk. He was all worried that she would come out with a bunch of pieces of paper with people's names and phone numbers on them, and what's worse is she came out with a person. And so he's like, are you kidding me? What the heck? This sucks. So much for my romantic weekend at Comic-Con. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know I mentioned I had 2 ideas of what the plot twist would be. I thought one of them would be, oh hey, Roxy's been flirting with this guy, and he seems to be flirting back. Wouldn't it? And Graham is so jealous. Wouldn't it be hilarious if at the end he's like, oh yeah, I'm gay, this is my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. That would have just been hilarious, and I would have just been like, ha, 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 you guys are goobers, ha, ha, ha. I love it. But no, that didn't happen. That was just a theory that didn't pan out. What did happen, though, is that Amelia decided that she had a crush on Graham, and she told him, and so they kind of agreed to go out, and Roxy kind of was a bit of a dummy, and she decided that when he did tell her, and when he did tell her, he was drunk, by the way. Stupid kid. Anyways, when he did tell her, she was like, I don't want anything to change between us. We're supposed to be best friends. So she's like, I think we should be just friends. And like, she's kind of getting pissy at him because he told her he loved her, and he's just like, well, this is stupid. And then she goes off and does something else for a minute, and Amelia tells her that, or tells him, hey, I have a crush on you. Do you want to go out with me? And he's like, okay. Hey, Butterscotch. I saw him running in the camera. But so he ends up doing a character development on a character that is basically him. Like, he changed a couple of things, but it's him. And he does this, and then she walks in and says, look, I'm sorry, I was a jerk, I was stupid. I don't want any kind of like romance to screw up our friendship because I care about you too much, and I don't want to jeopardize our friendship or the comic or anything else. And he's like, yeah, I get it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have confessed my feelings. And she's like, no, I'm glad you did. I just have to think about it. And I don't know if Devin's gonna be in my life forever, which, dear Lord, I hope not, because he pretty much played no role except for to give them booze. Like, seriously, and be annoying. That was his only role. Dumb. Anyways, so she apologizes, he apologizes, they're all good, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, that's all I have for you for the review of The Geek's Guide to Unrequited Love. I will do a written review, spoiler-free, on my Books Amino app, and I will put a link to it in the description bar. That's all I have for you, and I will see you when I do my next video. Bye! Shit!